Hello, my name's Fiona, and today I'm joined by Catherine, Gabriel, Ying, Will, and Veronica, members of the Creative Collective in Lincoln, as well as Collection Usher Gallery staff Laura and Jenny. Our group meets on Tuesdays at 5 pm via Zoom to collaboratively produce creative projects, and you can get involved by emailing the collection at lincolnshire.gov.uk to show your interest. We're also joined today by our podcast guest Rob, who is here to conduct a Q&A with us about our upcoming online exhibition for the 80th anniversary of the Battle of Britain in conjunction with the Imperial War Museum.
Hi, I'm Ying. I'm an exhibition design graduate and I have joined the Creative Collective since January last year. For the curatorial project, I have created an audio play responding to the female artist Phyllis Shaftel's drawings, St. Paul Cathedral After the Blitz.
I'm Gabe, I'm 22. I'm a dance graduate who's studying a master's in video game development, and I joined the Creative Collective so I could meet some like-minded people and talk about art.
Hi, my name's Fiona Gillespie. I'm a third-year art history student at the University of Lincoln, and I've been part of the Creative Collective for a couple of years now, as I've taken many curatorship modules at the university, and I aspire to work in the cultural and heritage industry, either in museums or art galleries in the future. My personal interests do lie within art and art history, and particularly within our sort of impressionist, abstract expressionist periods, which is kind of what's drawn me to some of the British imperial stuff that we've discussed, some of Paul Nash's works and things like that. I wanted to be part of the Creative Collective as, you know, it gives you a chance to be involved in useful curating of exhibitions, and it gave me the chance to make decisions that have an impact upon the collection as an institution, and it's kind of inspired my passion for art and cultural heritage, and it's helped me develop my skills within the heritage industry and within the field that I would like to work for in the future. It's been a place to meet new people within the industry, and whilst also getting a look behind the scenes at my favourite cultural heritage locations. I've gained, practical experience in the cultural and heritage industry, and I've been able to apply some of my learnt skills in my university modules.
Hi, my name is Kat and I joined the Creative Collective in October. I studied a Masters in Culture and Heritage Management from the University of Lincoln, and I currently work as a Visitor Experience Officer at Lincoln Castle.
Hi, my name is Veronica. I have been a part of the Creative Collective since September of last year. Professionally, I work in the legal sector. However, art has always been one of my greatest passions, and it is something I would love to pursue in the future. So as soon as I saw the chance to join the Creative Collective, I did so. And it's been such a great way to meet new people, some like-minded people, some other amazing creatives and artists. And it's been a great way to feel like I'm a part of a community.
My name is Will Thompson, and I am a 20-year-old multimedia artist currently living in Lincoln.
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me along this evening. It's an opportunity to come and meet with the collection's Creative Collective. Can somebody please explain to me what the Creative Collective is all about? Who are you guys?
We're a group of 16 to 25-year-olds in Lincoln, and we just meet up every week to talk about art and our interests and stuff. And we've just done a cultural project that's all online.
Fantastic. So how in the world did you guys get connected together as a collective? You said you're 16 to 25-year-olds. Who picked up the phone and called you? How did you get involved?
My mum actually found it was on the collection website. She found an application for it, and I thought it looked really good because it's what I want to go into, and also gain experience because I wanted to go into the museum and heritage sector. So I applied, just used the application form, and then went through some details, and then it just went into the first meeting in October where I met everyone for the first time.
Was that nerve-wracking, meeting everybody for the first time?
Yeah, especially during the current situation as well with the pandemic. We couldn't meet face to face, and I haven't really done Zoom meetings before, so it was really nerve-wracking, but I really enjoyed the process.
Excellent. And how about the rest of you? Was it a case of you are already connected to the Collection Museum and saw the opportunity? How did you get involved? What about the rest of you?
Well, basically, I was looking for a volunteer position on the website at the time, and I clicked on the application form, and it turned out that the window for that position had already closed. But out of like mere like chance, I basically clicked on the thing listed beneath it, which was about the Creative Collective, and I thought, oh, this looks really good. This is the kind of thing that I've been lacking as someone who's trying to either get involved with galleries or be a kind of freelance artist. I thought, oh, this is the kind of networking that I need to get started again. So I filled out the application, and now I'm here basically.
Yeah, I was just going to say, coming at it from a different angle, I go to university in Lincoln, so I don't actually come from Lincoln. I've been involved in the Creative Collective on and off for like a couple of years. I heard about it in my second year or first year of university. I got an email through about it, and as someone who does an art history degree and wants to work in like the gallery and arts sector, it just seemed like a perfect way to get like that kind of behind the scenes exhibition experience. But also it's actually been really great to meet like people from all over Lincoln, students, people that live here, people that don't live here, people in sixth form, people in university, people who are graduated. It's been really interesting, like the amount of people who like I've met doing this, and people again from all sorts of backgrounds, artists. I mean, I haven't myself done physical art since sixth form, so a couple of years ago now, but I'm more interested in like I said, the exhibition application, the curating process, which is what kind of drew me to this. But it's so interesting to see the different reasons why everyone's joined this group, because it's got such a wide variety of things to offer.
Am I right in thinking you've been working on an exhibition as a team? The collective's been working on an exhibition. Who can tell me some more about what is this exhibition?
So we've been working in partnership with the Imperial War Museum on an exhibition regarding the anniversary of the Battle of Britain. So we've had a couple of art pieces lended to us by the Imperial War Museum, and some local art as well from local artists. Basically created as a response to the Battle of Britain and war and conflict. So we've been responding ourselves to that through these meetings and for our final project as well.
Brilliant. So the Imperial War Museum's heavily involved in this project. Have you met with them? How's that relationship come about?
We had a talk from a woman called Paris Agar, who, if I remember correctly, is a curator with the Imperial War Museum, and she was she spoke to us about how she got to where she is as a curator, and about how the process of setting up exhibitions works, and how like the sort of behind the scenes knowledge that has to go into it, and all the planning where you have to think about how like the lighting works and how it's all positioned, and how you can make the displays engaging. And though we aren't doing a physical exhibition this time round, it was still an interesting thing to learn about, because it's not something that you exactly find out on your day-to-day life about how galleries set up exhibitions. So it was an interesting workshop.
Okay, how about curatorial, the response that you have, or rather the responsibility you have as a team working on curating this exhibition? Who can tell me about the pieces that you've chosen to include within this exhibition? Have you all chosen one, or is it a set number?
I chose Alan Gwyn Jones, I think. So he had a selection of like portraits. I quite like portraits because I think it just shows like the detail. They were all like sketches, and then I kind of interpret it in like different ways. So I kind of also linked portraits in general from like sort of that period, but also linked it into like a modern exhibition. So the National Portrait Gallery through lockdown like invited like members of the public to like send in like portraits of themselves and things. So there's doctors and nurses, and then I kind of linked that into kind of that being kind of a modern day sort of like war zone, and that kind of representation, which I thought was quite interesting, and kind of an interesting way to look at it. And I think there was a recent, I think Tate London as well. There was an artist, I think I shared it on Facebook, but they've kind of had like I can't remember if it's like paintings, but it's like imagery associated with like people that are working on the front line during the pandemic. So I've kind of made a connection between them kind of too.
So portraiture is part of the exhibition. What other types of artwork are present?
So I looked at an artist called David T. Smith, and while there wasn't much for me to do in terms of reading up about him, because there wasn't really very much documented about him, but his artwork, I was sort of drawn to it because it sort of looked a bit bleak and gloomy, and it sort of showed like the sort of dark side of the war. Well, I mean, it's a war, so there's obviously very dark, but just like the atmosphere that was created in his artwork, I was sort of drawn to it.
And what about interpretation? As curators, have you been responsible for, I mean, Catherine's mentioned she drew a parallel between the front line of the First World War and the front line of staff during the pandemic. Has anybody undertaken any interpretation work, or as part of your curatorial role, has interpretation been important?
I did some interpretation of the work that I chose to look at, because I basically made a point about how though it shows like some level of damage that was done during the Blitz, it doesn't show the civilian viewpoint. It almost, to me, it felt more like it empathized more with the architecture than it did with the people. And even though there were other perspectives that did show the people's view, I just wanted to talk about the civilian viewpoint because of the fact that my grandfather basically talked about having grown up through the Blitz during my childhood. So I thought he's got some interesting stories to tell, and this artwork lacks the person's viewpoint. I'll get my grandfather to write about his Blitz memories, and I'll do some work based on that and put it in as a response to the work by Phyllis Jafto, basically saying that this is the stuff about the building and this is the stuff about the people. And I feel it kind of tied itself together basically as a result, because it's like two halves of an image basically.
And how did your grandfather feel about, I mean, presumably he knew that his contribution would be part of the exhibition. How does he feel about this?
He is absolutely thrilled to feel listened to about it, because he knows he's spoken about it a lot, and I think also because time has moved on and we have current issues to worry about as people, I think he thought it was really like it was quite flattering for him to be asked about his past when there's so much happening in the present. And also because his father was a part of the RAF, I think he still has a lot of pride about his father's contributions to the war effort. And so yeah, he was very happy to speak about it. He, as I said, he's often spoken about the war, and yeah, how he actually had quite a quite an interesting experience with it because he was so young. During the Blitz, it wasn't actually that scary for him because he didn't really know what was going on. He just thought it was really exciting and was really proud of having a dad in the RAF, and so that featured a lot in his little memoir piece that I did some illustrations for.
I understand somebody's done a radio play as part of a response. Is that right?
Yes, that's me. And I've actually chose the same artists and drawings as Will did. It's the St. Paul Cathedral After the Blitz by Phyllis Shafto. And I kind of have a very different, I'll say, response. I'm not sure if it's actually interpreting the artist and the drawing, but I'll say a different response to what's the drawings. So because I'm not British and I actually know nothing about the Battle of Britain before this whole project, and I feel like I don't really have any like emotional attached to like the Battle of Britain and like the World War II. Like I don't have families who are affected by that war as well. So I kind of try to focus on the artist herself, Billy Shafto, who she's a female artist from Lincolnshire, and she went down to London to like work on her art career. So I kind of try to link that to myself as well, because I'm from Hong Kong. I came all the way from Hong Kong to Lincoln to study design, trying to like to sorry about my vocabulary, trying to work on arts and design industry as well, like a little bit similar like what Shafto has done, leaving a home to a whole new place. And I've made this audio play or radio play, not sure how you actually call them, but I will say audio play, with a friend of me who actually is studying theatre at the university. And it's kind of like collaborating with her to create this audio play, and was trying to look into how Phyllis Shafto experienced the Blitz and why she has to go back to her home. But I think there are some difficulties while working on this audio play, which is I think a lot of the collectives. Are we the collective? Sorry, like a lot of you guys might have faced as well, is that some of these artworks and artists are a little bit difficult to research on because there are not much records or archives based on them, or like, yeah, it's just a little bit difficult to know more about the artist and try to interpretate the stories or interpretate the artworks based on the information that's already available. So
would you say would you say that having less information is more of a challenge, or having more information is more of a challenge? Because I don't know, if there's lots to read about, maybe you could get bogged down with reading what other people think about the work. Maybe you've got a fresh interpretation here that could be really exciting.
Yeah, I actually really agree about what you've said about, like, if there is so many information, there might be a lot of like interpretation, there might be a lot of pieces that's already about the artist that maybe me as a creative person will be a little bit difficult to find innovation in between that. But I think in my case, like in the audio play that I've created, it's kind of on the edge of I would like to have more information, and I think the information that I have now is enough, because there's one point, like while I was doing it, there's sometimes I'll think like maybe I can just made up some information about the artist and no one will actually know about it. But then Like, I know that's not good, but then I'll also think about, there's not much information about the artist herself. If I've made this audio play and put it out, when people listen to it, they might actually think that the things that I have mentioned in this audio play are the truth. So it's kind of in between.
Yeah.
I'll say, like at this stage, I'm quite satisfied by the information that I already have about the artist, because like now I've already done the audio play. I know the outcome of it, and I think I'm quite satisfied about how me and my friend Hannah actually, we overcome the difficulties of not being able to know more about the artist, and kind of like explore how can we interpret her story by not knowing much.
Yeah, and you've done that in a creative way. I'm fascinated now. You guys are running an exhibition. You've curated. You've been through this process of interpretation and researching the artists. Tell me more about the exhibition.
It's on WordPress. There's a WordPress website for it. I'm not sure how the promotions for it are going to be handled, because I believe that's going to be organized by the collection itself as a museum, but we've had to host it virtually. We originally had lots of ideas and brainstormed about like virtual reality and just formatting possibilities for it, but eventually we settled on doing a website, and WordPress is a platform that was accessible for everyone, so the content we've created is going to be hosted online on WordPress.
Excellent. So it's going to be a digital exhibition, and you guys have been at the cutting edge of cultural exploration of what it's like to operate inside a pandemic. It sounds like it's been incredibly challenging.
I think a lot of us are expecting for things to go back to normal a little bit sooner than they actually have. But as we've kind of gotten used to the fact that maybe that wasn't going to be the case, it's been quite exciting to see how we were going to go about putting this forward, especially with a lot of the workshops that we had put on. I believe we had a workshop about how we would go about creating a virtual exhibition space, and that's not something I've ever had experience before. I don't know about anybody else, but it wasn't anything that I would ever think about creating, but having somebody who works in that industry and does that for a living was very exciting, and show us a different way of doing things. And it's kind of inspired a lot of ideas that were brought forward in the final project.
So really, I mean, all of the, not discounting all of the expertise that you've had available to you and the support from the collection, but you guys have been at the front end of this. You've been the vanguard of cultural ambassadors during a pandemic. So hats off to you. You've done fantastically well. Thank you very much for having me along this evening. I really look forward to the digital exhibition, and I hope to catch up with you guys again soon.
So that was our podcast about the Battle of Britain with the Creative Collective. Thank you, Rob, for conducting a Q&A with us. And please remember to contact the collection at lincolnshire.gov.uk if you're interested in joining us at the Creative Collective. Thank you.